The night was unusually still, a deceptive calm cloaking the trembling heart of a small home on a quiet suburban street. Kelly Rhodes paced her living room, the low hum of the refrigerator the only counterpoint to the drumming of her anxious heart. Outside, moonlight draped everything in silvery hues, but inside, the atmosphere was anything but serene. A sense of foreboding had taken root in Kelly's soul. It wasn't until that fateful hour, when a moment of terror illuminated the dark, that she understood that nothing would ever be the same. At precisely 2:17 a.m., the familiar chirp of the nanny cam shifted from its routine broadcast of domesticity to a scene that would haunt Kelly's dreams for years. On the screen, the ordinarily placid figure of Whiskers, the beloved ginger tabby, began moving with strange urgency. Whiskers, who had always been a gentle guardian, now strode with newfound intensity toward Caitlin's small bed. The soft glow of the monitor revealed an unsettling tableau. The cat's eyes shone with fervor bordering on desperation, and his claws, usually kept retracted, glinted as he neared the sleeping child. Kelly's hand trembled as she gripped the remote, her mind racing through unbidden possibilities. What could have provoked this change? Had Caitlin been hurting in her sleep? The thought struck her like lightning, igniting both fear and overwhelming maternal duty. With a racing heart, she bolted down the hall, her bare feet pounding on the cold wooden floor. Each step was a desperate prayer, each heartbeat a countdown to an uncertain fate. The air around her throbbed with anxiety as she neared Caitlin's room. Bursting through the door, Kelly's eyes were immediately drawn to the sight no mother wishes to behold. There, illuminated by the dim bedside lamp, lay Caitlin, a picture of fragile innocence compromised. Her tiny face, usually the portrait of peaceful slumber, was marred by beads of sweat and an expression of distress. Caitlin's chest rose and fell in a laborious rhythm, her shallow breathing echoing the silence of the night, punctuated by the frantic meows of Whiskers. The cat, once a cuddly comfort, now circled the bed with wild-eyed determination. He pawed at Caitlin's face as if trying to pry open the secrets hidden within her troubled sleep. "Whiskers!" Kelly cried, her voice slicing through the stillness. "What are you doing? Stop!" But the feline's actions were unyielding, driven by an instinct beyond human understanding. In that agonizing moment, Kelly's mind reeled. What monstrous force could have sent her beloved pet into such a frenzied state? Was it merely protective, or was something more sinister afoot? Without hesitation, Kelly scooped Caitlin into her arms, her maternal instincts propelling her toward the car parked in the driveway. Her eyes darted back to the room, catching one last glimpse of Whiskers, who now sat transfixed by the door, his meowing a haunting symphony of warning and despair. The drive to the hospital was a blur, a rush of adrenaline, terror, and heartache, as Kelly fought the oppressive darkness with every mile passing under the ghostly glow of streetlights. The image of her daughter, barely stirring in her arms, and the echo of Whiskers' cries were seared into her consciousness as she prayed for a miracle. At the hospital, the corridors buzzed with urgent whispers and the shuffling of medical staff, their faces etched with concern. Kelly clutched Caitlin closer, every second stretching into an eternity as she waited for a sign, a word, any indication that her daughter would pull through. Time lost all meaning in that sterile environment where the relentless hum of fluorescent lights blended with the beeping of monitors in an ominous lullaby. Finally, after what felt like an endless vigil, a doctor approached, a somber expression announcing the gravity of what was to come. "Miss Rhodes," the doctor began, settling into a nearby chair as though to share a heavy burden, "I'm afraid we've discovered that your daughter has type 1 diabetes." The words fell like stones into the fragile calm of Kelly's mind. Type 1. Diabetes. The diagnosis was an unfamiliar specter, hovering between hope and despair. It meant that Caitlin's pancreas had betrayed her, producing little to no insulin, a hormone essential for keeping her blood sugar levels in balance. The condition was severe, the potential consequences dire if left unmanaged. In that sterile hospital room, Kelly felt both the crushing weight of uncertainty and the fierce determination to overcome the storm now looming over her family. As the medical team busied themselves with stabilizing Caitlin, Kelly's thoughts churned with questions and regrets. Why had Whiskers acted so bizarrely? What hidden knowledge lay behind his frantic behavior? In the maelstrom of her emotions, Kelly's mind flickered back to the memories of a happier past, a time when every twist and turn in her life had led her to this beautiful chaos of motherhood. To understand the magnitude of the night's events, one must delve into the tapestry of Kelly's life. A tapestry woven with threads of joy, sorrow, resilience, and unexpected love. Kelly Rhodes had always been a fighter, a woman who bore life's harsh blows with grace and unyielding resolve. As a single mother, she navigated the tumultuous waters of love and abandonment, finding solace in the company of her beloved companion, Whiskers. Before Caitlin had come into her life, Kelly's heart had been bruised by betrayal, left to mend in the quiet company of her steadfast cat. Whiskers was more than just a pet. He was a silent witness to Kelly's struggles and triumphs. In the early days when the world conspired against her, Kelly found refuge in the gentle purrs and soft fur of her ginger tabby. He had been there through lonely nights and bittersweet mornings, a constant reminder that love could still flourish even in the face of adversity. As time passed and the scars of her past began to fade, a new light entered her life, a tiny, radiant spark named Caitlin. Caitlin was born on a day filled with both hope and trepidation. Her arrival symbolized a fresh start and heralded a period of profound transformation in the Rhodes household. As Kelly's belly swelled with the promise of new life, Whiskers appeared to undergo a metamorphosis of his own. The cat's gentle eyes, once solely fixed on Kelly's moments of reflection, now lingered with equal fascination on the unborn child. It was as if Whiskers sensed that something extraordinary was about to unfold, a bond that would transcend the ordinary and morph into something deeply intuitive and protective. The day Caitlin came home was marked by a rush of overwhelming emotions. The house buzzed with a mixture of joy, anxiety, and the surreal beauty of new beginnings. Whiskers, usually calm, leapt with unbridled excitement at the sound of the baby's first cries. He circled the infant with curious intensity, his whiskers twitching as if trying to decode the language of this new, fragile life. Kelly watched with tears glistening in her eyes, her heart swelling with gratitude that her little one was surrounded by unconditional love, even if it came from a furry, four-legged guardian. As the days turned into months, the bond between Caitlin and Whiskers blossomed into something almost mystical. The two became inseparable, a pair whose shared adventures in the backyard and cozy evenings in the living room were the stuff of quiet, everyday miracles. Whiskers followed Caitlin with a loyalty that defied explanation, ever watchful as she darted among the flower beds or trailed fireflies on warm summer nights. He was there to cushion her falls, both literal and metaphorical, a steadfast protector in a world that could sometimes be as unpredictable as it was beautiful. Yet as the seasons shifted and the rhythms of life gave way to unsettling anomalies, Kelly began to notice that not all was as it seemed. It started with small, easily overlooked details. The way Caitlin's bedding was damp with sweat each night, the peculiar frequency of her midnight bathroom trips, and an insatiable appetite that defied her tender age. Kelly's initial thoughts were of harmless quirks of childhood, a growth spurt here, a restless dream there. But a nagging intuition urged her to look deeper, to question the quiet signals whispering of something amiss beneath the surface of their daily routine. Her worry grew steadily over weeks, punctuated by nights of anxious monitoring. Desperate to understand the cause of Caitlin's symptoms, Kelly resorted once more to technology, a battered baby monitor placed strategically in her daughter's room. Each night, Kelly would sit in the dim glow of the monitor, watching over Caitlin as she slept, her heart both buoyed and burdened by small triumphs and incremental signs of distress. It was during one such vigil that Kelly first witnessed Whiskers' odd behavior, a behavior that seemed a silent plea for attention. One night, as the clock ticked toward the early hours, Kelly's eyes were drawn to a scene that defied easy explanation. Caitlin lay enveloped in sleep, her face serene but marred by sweat, while Whiskers moved slowly but deliberately toward her. The cat's eyes, usually pools of gentle warmth, were alight with feverish urgency. In that surreal moment, as Whiskers reached out and began to paw at Caitlin's cheek, Kelly felt a chill crawl up her spine, a premonition that this was not simply pet mischief, but a portent of danger. And so, compelled by a mother's instinct and the unspoken language of love, Kelly intervened, launching a cascade of events that would irrevocably alter their lives. The hospital corridor had become a crucible of raw emotion and unspoken fears. As Kelly paced, her thoughts oscillated between memories of happier days and the grim reality confronting her. The diagnosis of type 1 diabetes for Caitlin introduced a new variable into the delicate equation of their lives. It was a condition demanding constant vigilance, a relentless battle against fluctuating blood sugar levels, injections, strict dietary management, and the uncertainty of future complications. The words insulin deficiency echoed in Kelly's mind, mingling with persistent questions. How did this happen? Was it something lurking unnoticed all along? And most agonizing of all, how could she bear the weight of this burden while preserving the tender spirit of her child? In the quiet space of the hospital room, punctuated by beeping monitors and the soft murmur of nurses, Kelly's mind raced back to that critical night when Whiskers had behaved so anomalously. Had his unusual actions been an instinctual alarm? A desperate attempt to draw her attention to something the human senses might have missed? With a mixture of gratitude and guilt, Kelly resolved that there would be no further blame on her steadfast guardian. Whiskers had acted out of deep, unspoken love, a love transcending the simple boundaries of pet and owner, hinting at a profound intuition about Caitlin's well-being. As the doctor explained the intricacies of the disease, Kelly listened with unwavering attention. She absorbed every detail, the need for regular insulin shots, the importance of maintaining balanced meals, and the vigilance required to monitor her daughter's blood sugar levels. Each word was both a lifeline and a stark reminder of the new reality they were forced to confront. The room filled with a solemn promise, a promise that she would do everything in her power to ensure that Caitlin's life continued to be filled with love, laughter, and hope, despite the looming specter of illness. Yet as the initial shock began to subside, an undercurrent of mystery persisted in Kelly's thoughts. Whiskers had been an unlikely herald of Caitlin's distress, and that notion ignited a spark of determination in her heart. If the feline's behavior had indeed been a subtle signal of changes brewing within her daughter's body, what other secrets might the quiet rhythms of their home hold? Determined to unravel the enigma, Kelly began to meticulously piece together subtle clues scattered throughout their recent past. Days turned into restless nights filled with quiet observations and detailed notes. Kelly recalled the small but disconcerting patterns, the damp sheets that reappeared night after night, the unexplained intensity in Whiskers' gaze, the persistent pattern of Caitlin's bathroom trips following a sudden surge in water consumption. Each detail, once dismissed as a quirk of childhood, now coalesced into a pattern, a silent narrative of a body in distress, sending out warnings in a language only a heart steeped in love could interpret. In the gentle, reflective moments of the early morning, when the first rays of sunlight spilled into the quiet kitchen, Kelly would sip her coffee with a mind far removed from the mundane routine of daily life. Instead, her thoughts danced around the mystery of her daughter's condition. There was a strange intimacy to how Caitlin's body communicated, a secret code whispered through sweat and trembling hands. In the midst of it all, Whiskers had been the quiet sentinel, a guardian whose actions transcended the ordinary, hinting at a profound intuition about well-being. The investigation into Caitlin's condition became more than a medical necessity. It evolved into an emotional journey that forced Kelly to confront the intertwined threads of fate that had woven her life together. In the quiet evenings after hospital visits, when the world outside hushed in reverence of the battles fought within their small home, Kelly found herself retracing the arc of her life, a path marked by hardship, resilience, and the unyielding quest for love. She remembered the days when Whiskers was merely a comforting presence during solitude, a silent witness to tears that fell on cold nights after a partner's departure. In those moments, as she cradled her growing belly and whispered promises of a better future to her unborn child, Whiskers curled up beside her, his soft purrs a gentle reminder that love could be found even in darkness. The cat had shared in her joy, his amber eyes reflecting a hope as fragile as it was fierce. Now faced with the diagnosis that threatened to upend their delicate balance, Kelly's determination hardened. She would not let fear dictate the future of her daughter. In every measured breath, in every tear shed, in the quiet solitude of the night, Kelly vowed that they would emerge stronger, their bond fortified by the trials endured. The hospital became a temporary sanctuary, a place where the severity of Caitlin's condition was met with the unwavering commitment of a mother who refused to yield to despair. Even as doctors and nurses moved with clinical precision, Kelly's mind was drawn to the inexplicable connection between her daughter and Whiskers. A connection that had first manifested in the strange behavior that jolted her from sleep. In the days that followed, she observed the cat with renewed wonder and gratitude. Whiskers now seemed to carry himself with an air of quiet wisdom, his playful antics replaced by moments of thoughtful stillness. It was as if he knew his role was only the beginning of a deeper, more profound journey. A journey testing the strength of their bonds and redefining loyalty. In moments of reflection, Kelly began to wonder if perhaps there was more to Whiskers than met the eye. Could it be that the mysterious instincts of this feline were not mere coincidences, but rather whispers from a hidden world where intuition and emotion ruled over logic? The idea was both fantastical and deeply comforting. In a world that had already shown her its capacity for inexplicable twists and turns, the notion that a humble cat could serve as a harbinger of danger and ultimately as a guardian of life was a reminder that miracles often arrived in unexpected forms. Weeks melted into months, and the initial terror of that midnight hour gradually transformed into cautious optimism. Caitlin's condition, while serious, stabilized under the careful watch of dedicated medical professionals and the unyielding devotion of her mother. Daily routines took on a new rhythm, a balance between the disciplined regimen of insulin injections, dietary adjustments, and the comforting rituals binding the family together. Every morning, as Kelly prepared a carefully measured breakfast and recorded Caitlin's blood sugar levels, she exchanged knowing glances with Whiskers, who lay curled on a sunny patch of the floor. In those silent moments, there was an unspoken acknowledgement of the shared journey that had brought them to this point. The world outside continued its steady march, unaware of the quiet revolution taking place in the Rhodes household. Neighbors waved from their porches, and life moved along with comforting regularity. Yet within the walls of their home, every sound, every heartbeat, carried the weight of a mystery partially unraveled, a mystery signaled by a frantic cat and a mother's racing pulse in the dead of night. Kelly's nights were no longer filled with the paralyzing fear of what might lurk in the shadows. Instead, they transformed into periods of reflection and gratitude. She often sat by the window, watching as the first blush of dawn replaced darkness, contemplating the fragile beauty of life. The memory of that night, the night Whiskers became both a warning bell and a savior, remained etched in her mind. It was a reminder that sometimes the smallest among us held the greatest wisdom. As Caitlin grew stronger, the bond between the little girl and her feline protector deepened into something almost legendary. In the quiet moments after her nightly insulin shot, Caitlin would reach out to stroke Whiskers' soft fur, her eyes sparkling with mischief and gratitude. Whiskers, in turn, would purr as though whispering secrets of worlds unseen, a language of comfort and assurance that only the two of them truly understood. Their connection was an alchemy of love and instinct, an unspoken pact forged in the crucible of adversity. Meanwhile, Kelly embarked on her journey of healing and rediscovery. With the diagnosis firmly in place, she sought not only to manage Caitlin's physical needs, but also to nurture the emotional and spiritual resilience of their small family. She reached out to support groups, shared her story with others who faced similar trials, and slowly built a network of caregivers, doctors, and friends who would help shoulder the burden of uncertainty. In each conversation, each shared tear and hopeful smile, Kelly found the strength to face another day with unwavering determination. The experience, as harrowing as it had been, became a source of profound insight, a reminder that even in the face of life-altering challenges, love was the most potent medicine of all. In the quiet corners of their home, where shadows danced in the early light and memories of past sorrows mingled with the promise of brighter futures, Kelly began to document their journey. Her journal filled with reflections, questions, and small victories. The day Caitlin first smiled unencumbered by pain, the moment when Whiskers' eyes held an unmistakable glimmer of hope, and the countless times a gentle purr or a tender touch reminded her that miracles were indeed real. These pages became a testament to their resilience and a guide for the days ahead, a roadmap of love carved through adversity. There were moments when the mystery of Whiskers' uncanny intuition resurfaced in Kelly's thoughts, In the stillness of the night, as she sat by Caitlin's bedside after a long day of hospital visits and careful monitoring, she would gaze at the cat with a mixture of awe and reverence. It was as if Whiskers had known from the beginning that his role would extend far beyond that of a mere pet. He was a guardian, a silent sentinel whose instincts bridged the gap between the seen and the unseen. A reminder that in every life, no matter how ordinary it might appear, there lay the potential for extraordinary acts of love and sacrifice. Months passed, and the initial shock of Caitlin's diagnosis began to fade into a new routine. The hospital visits became less frequent, and with the right management, Caitlin was learning to navigate her condition with resilience and grace. Kelly marveled at her daughter's strength, her spirit unfazed by the challenges they faced. Each day became a celebration of life's small victories, a reminder that despite the uncertainties, joy could still blossom in the most unexpected places. As summer approached, their backyard transformed into a vibrant playground of laughter and adventure. Caitlin and Whiskers would dart among the blooming flowers, the cat ever watchful as Caitlin chased butterflies or twirled in delight. The innocence of childhood reemerged, and Kelly found solace in those moments, her heart swelling with gratitude for the resilience of her family. In the evenings, they would gather around the dinner table. It became a sanctuary where worries melted away, replaced by the warmth of love and connection. Whiskers would weave between their legs, a silent participant in family rituals that celebrated the simple joys of life. As the seasons shifted, so too did the narrative of their lives. The bond between Caitlin and Whiskers deepened, their connection evolving into a language of mutual understanding. Whiskers was not merely a pet, he was a guardian spirit, an integral part of their family's story. In quiet moments, Kelly would catch the two of them nestled together, Caitlin whispering secrets into Whiskers' ear, the cat's purr resonating like a comforting lullaby. Years later, when the memories of that fateful night had softened but never faded, Kelly often reflected on the mysterious ways of fate. The story of that night had taken on a life of its own, a legend whispered among friends and shared at community events. A reminder that miracles often come in the guise of everyday moments, and that sometimes the most extraordinary guardians come with soft fur and gentle purrs. Caitlin, now older and brimming with the confidence born of overcoming early challenges, would sit with her mother on the porch during long summer evenings. Together, they'd watch the world go by, the sky awash with deep oranges and purples of dusk. Whiskers, ever the vigilant companion, would perch on the railing, his gaze fixed on the horizon as though he, too, recalled the night when destiny wove their lives together. In those moments of quiet communion, the family would share silent gratitude for the unseen bonds that had carried them through the darkest hours and into the light of new beginnings. Kelly's heart swelled with pride and wonder as she recounted the tale to friends and strangers alike. The night when a loyal cat's instincts had been the catalyst for a life-saving revelation, and the journey that followed was marked by love, resilience, and hope. It was a story affirming the belief that sometimes the quietest voices, in the form of a gentle purr, a soft touch, or an unspoken glance, can speak volumes about the power of intuition, loyalty, and the enduring spirit. In the end, the Rhodes family transcended the ordinary narrative of hardship to create a legacy of compassion and perseverance. Their home was a sanctuary where every wound was tended with care, every fear confronted with courage, and every moment celebrated as a testament to the resilience of the human heart. And as the stars shimmered overhead, Kelly, Caitlin, and Whiskers rested in the comforting embrace of a love tested by night's terrors and ultimately transformed into an unbreakable bond, a bond that would guide them through every storm, every shadow, and every dawn promising a new beginning. This is the tale of how a single mother's fierce love, a child's resilient spirit, and a cat's inexplicable intuition converged on one unforgettable night, setting in motion a journey of discovery, healing, and the timeless power of family. From the heart-stopping terror of midnight to the gentle reaffirmation of hope in every sunrise, Kelly Rhodes' story is a reminder that even in the midst of life's most daunting challenges, the bonds we forge can light the way through the darkest nights. In every measured heartbeat, every soft purr in the silence of dawn, and every step taken toward a future filled with trials and triumphs, there lies a promise that love in all its forms is the true guardian of life, a quiet hero who, when least expected, reveals its power to save, to heal, and to transform our world.